Hello, welcome back to my channel. Since I'm planning my week right now, I'm about to go grocery shopping. I thought I would just share with you kind of how I'm meal planning and then the slow cooker meals that I'm gonna be making this week. First thing I do is I think about what I currently have in my fridge. Then I try to look at some recipes that have similar ingredients. So today is Thursday. I'm gonna head to the store today. I try to do a meatless meal on Fridays. So tomorrow I'm gonna make a slow cooker lentil soup. And then heading into Monday, I'm going to make slow cooker pot roast. On Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, we'll see how we do with leftovers, I'm gonna make white chicken chili in the slow cooker. Both those meals have crossover in ingredients. So I just need to get chuck roast and I need to get chicken and I need to get some veggies. So right now my list is looking like celery, onions, diced green chilies, which I think I already have, cannellini beans, frozen corn, some Mexican cheeses, cilantro, red wine for the pot roast, yellow, small little yellow gold potatoes, parsley, tomato paste, I think I have enough, mushrooms, butter, chocolate chips, milk, and eggs. And then I need to, in preparation, I need to make bone broth, and then I need to use up some buttermilk that I have in my fridge. So I'm gonna make muffins. So those are the two things. So I make a grocery list, and then I also make a little to-do list of things I need to do ahead of time. So I need to make muffins, I need to make broth, because tomorrow I'm going to make lentil stew, and so I'm gonna need the broth for that. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the store. Some people were concerned in one of my videos that I did not have bags to carry my groceries in. Well, I do have bags, they're just not always in my car, and I just start grabbing stuff and bringing things in. But anyways, I'm gonna lay out my groceries and show you kind of what I got. Okay, this is the big one. Let's see how much I spent. This side and over is all my Aldi stuff. I spent $103.59. That is a lot of stuff. And then at Costco, $170.32. All right, let's get this stuff put away. Oh, dang it. I forgot to get lentils. Guess I'm going back to the store. I really like visuals, so this is everything I got for the white chicken chili. For the lentil stew, I got these items. For the beef stew, I got these items. As you can see, there is a bit of carryover with the ingredients, so that's helpful. That's right. After putting everything away, I moved on to getting ready for dinner. We were doing a simple spaghetti and meat sauce for dinner, and of course I had some homemade bread. I mixed this dough earlier in the day before I left, and it was ready for shaping by the time I got home and got everything put away. Moving on to the slow cooker lentil stew. This is actually Saturday. I had the best of intentions to make this on Friday, but things did not go as planned. So we shifted things a little bit, and I'm actually really glad that I did. It ended up being the perfect meal for our Saturday evening. Now this lentil stew, it is so delicious. It's one of the first things I made in the slow cooker. I got a slow cooker as a wedding gift, and it's just one of the first things I tried, and I was surprised at how good it turned out. I didn't think it was going to be that great, and it was, and I've only improved upon it as I've made it time and time again. So I'm going to share it with you, and I hope you try it. I think it's such a great meatless meal. It's so cheap and easy to make, and it's nourishing and filling. So you're gonna chop up your veggies. I have lots of carrots, a whole onion, lots of celery, and a sweet potato, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic and 16 ounces of mushrooms. And then in the slow cooker, mine has a saute function, which really helps for this. I added in beef marrow. I had this left over from the broth that I made, and it does add a ton of flavor to this, but you could also use bacon fat or lard or olive oil. So you're gonna saute your mushrooms in that first and get them to really absorb all that flavor, and then brown them a bit. And then you're going to add in the rest of your veggies. You just want to saute everything up to develop the flavors. Because this is a simple meal, you really want to do this part. It turns out a lot better. Add a teaspoon of salt to this and then cover it with the lid so that I can cook for 5 to 8 minutes or so just to develop those flavors. And then you're going to add in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, your garlic, and your seasonings. I did a teaspoon of oregano, thyme, and rosemary. You can also do Italian seasoning. I also did some pepper, and then mix that together to let those flavors really develop, and then add in a can of tomatoes. Then I added about 4 cups of broth. I had more broth cooking, it just wasn't ready yet. And then I added a 14-ounce package of lentils, which had been rinsed. And because I didn't have enough broth, I covered it with some water just so it looked like enough liquid. And then you can set your slow cooker to high for 6 hours or low on 8 hours and just check on it throughout the day. My kitchen was busy and bustling on this day because my kids all wanted to make something.
I'm gonna make stew. Onion.
You being careful? You gotta watch those fingers.
Can I make a mini stew?
Later. 4 more hours.
Okay, so
Can I see?
make a semicircle. I'm not gonna make a hole. I made the mold.
Noah.
I'm making it in my person. Making me. I already said I'm an idiot.
Watch out, boys. Watch out.
Wait, is the bomb ready?
Yeah, it's burning hot.
I'm making frosting for the cupcakes.
I read the instructions on how to flip it because you're supposed to flip it very, very slowly.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad I remembered to flip it.
I'm just adding some more bone broth here because it was looking a little dry. All the way out. So it's easy. Now grab it.
Oh, I'm dumb.
Shut it. There you
No,
go.
I'm not putting sauce.
Alright, go set it down. Let it
Oh,
let
this
it
is
sit.
really hot. Where do I put this?
Do your hands. Here, let me help you. Like that. Okay?
Oh.
It's not even on a flat surface. Okay.
I didn't break that one either.
I think so. Ah, we're good.
It didn't break.
Success.
Yes!
The lentil stew will be finished when the lentils are cooked through and it's looking thicker, more like a stew instead of a soup. I sometimes take the back of a spoon and try and smash some of the sweet potatoes to thicken up the stew some more. I add a splash of apple cider vinegar at the end, mix it in, and top it with some Parmesan cheese. And to really take it over the top, we serve it with some homemade bread and butter. This is a really delicious meal, and I hope you try it. I have linked it on my blog for you to check out. This is the finished result from all that baking you saw earlier. I have 2 daughters who both love to be creative. They love to get busy in the kitchen. And we were also celebrating one of my daughters making great improvements in her swimming time, so she made a swimming cake.
That's my piece.
Oh, look at that, Felicity. Looks so good. All right. We are now stepping into my Monday morning, and I have a slow cooker pot roast meal planned. And this recipe came from America's Test Kitchen. I modified it just a little bit. So I have a 4 to 5 pound chuck roast here, and you want to pat it dry and season it well on both sides with salt and pepper. Don't be shy here. And then take your butcher's twine and your scissors, if you have kitchen shears, and you want to separate this meat at the natural seam where there's a layer of fat, and then also trim some of that fat off. You don't want too much for this. I am using ghee and I am turning on my slow cooker saute function to high. I'm using ghee because it has a higher smoke point, so I'm not worried about it burning as I'm searing the meat. So I'm cutting this meat into another piece so that I can have 3 even pieces. Then you're gonna tie each piece up with butcher's twine. The original recipe called for a chuck eye roast, which I guess is different from a chuck roast. So you should have 2 pieces if you're using a chuck eye roast. And then you're going to sear the meat really well on every side, and you need to be patient with this process. So while that's happening, you can go and work on your veggies. I'm chopping up 2 stalks of celery, 2 onions. I'm gonna do 6 cloves of garlic. You can just smash the whole head of garlic and it releases the cloves. And then you can smash each clove and it easily releases the skin. It helps to have a little container close by where you can throw all of your scraps. I did 4 whole large carrots and I'm chopping them in half lengthwise and then cutting them about 2 inches long. So once your meat is seared on all sides, you can transfer it to a plate, and then you're gonna add in your onions and celery. Also add in a half teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper and let it saute for 5 to 8 minutes or so. In a small bowl, you're gonna mix together some more seasonings. I added in this umami blend, a half teaspoon, and I also added in a teaspoon of onion powder. And then you're gonna do 2 tablespoons of flour and a teaspoon of thyme. And then you have your tomato paste ready and your garlic ready. These are your flavor enhancers, as well as a half cup of red wine and a half cup of bone broth. And so those are the things that are gonna make your classic pot roast taste absolutely delicious. So this is all ready to go. You just add in that blend of flour and seasonings, mix it up, and then add in the tomato paste and your garlic and mix it up and let it cook for about a minute until fragrant. And then add in your wine and broth mixture. I added in yellow small potatoes and about a pound of carrots, and then add in your meat, just nestle it into the veggies, and then add the accumulated juices from the plate that your meat was on. And then you can add a couple of bay leaves and then just cover the lid. Then set it to low for 9 to 10 hours or on high for 6 to 7 hours. I pulled some sourdough starter straight from my fridge and decided to try making some bread with it because I wanted to have some bread for dinner, but I didn't plan ahead enough to get my sourdough starter active and bubbly. However, I have such a good starter that even when I pull it straight from the fridge, it usually works. Something did go wrong here on this day, and I don't know if I was distracted when I was filming and I didn't do the right amount of ingredients, but the bread was just not right. So I tried a couple different things. I tried doing the leaven cycle more than once, and it still was just not rising well, and it had a lot of bubbles. And so instead of turning it into a loaf, I just decided to shape them and turn it into dinner rolls because it's easier for this bread to bake if it's smaller, especially if you have like a dense dough that isn't rising well. So we had some slightly dense dinner rolls, but they still tasted great. The house is loud right now, but I'm starving. Dinner is almost ready. The great thing about slow cooker meals is, yes, it was a lot of work in the front end to get it going, but now it's dinner time and I've been able to do so much today. I was able to work out, get a lot of work done, do things around the house, and now dinner's just like ready for me. So that's why I really love slow cooker meals. Bread is in the oven, and then I'm giving this like 30 more minutes, maybe less, and then I'm gonna get it out and let it rest for like 20 minutes and then eat it. This meal turned out amazing, and so I shared the recipe on my blog, so you can print that recipe. You can also print the grocery list and all the recipes from this video in case you want to copy my meal plan for the week. I've made it really easy for you. The link is in the description. Moving on to the final meal in this video, and that is slow cooker white chicken chili. I am just getting some morning chores out of the way, and then I'm going to prep my ingredients, and I also need to feed my sourdough starter. I have 2 chicken breasts here that I cut thinner, and then you want to pat them dry and season them with salt and pepper on both sides, and you're going to sear that really well in some olive oil. Make sure both sides have a nice crust. It should take 3 minutes or so per side. And now prep your veggies. I have 4 jalapenos here. I made sure to cut out the ribs and seeds so that it wouldn't be too spicy. And now I'm removing the chicken from the slow cooker and adding it to a pan. I'm adding just a little more olive oil to the pan, and I'm going to saute the celery and onions and jalapenos. And then you want to add in a teaspoon of salt and just let that go for maybe about 8 minutes or so. I like to use a lot of garlic, and so I actually used a whole head of garlic and just got rid of some of the smaller cloves. And then into a little bowl, you're gonna add 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and then a teaspoon of ground coriander. Add a teaspoon of salt, and then pour a little bit more olive oil in the pan because it was looking dry. Add in the garlic and the seasonings. Let those cook a little bit until fragrant, about a minute. Mix it all together, and then add in a can of green chilies. Mix that in, and then you're gonna put your chicken back in there and cover it with broth. Put the lid back on, set it on low for 6 hours. About 5 hours later, you're going to add your beans. Reserve 1 cup of the beans and 2 cups of the broth with the veggies in it and puree that together. This is what's going to add the creaminess and thicken up your chili a bit more. And then take your chicken out and shred it, add it back in, and then add in your corn and also the puree that you just made. You're also going to add another can of beans, so you have some whole beans in there and then you have some pureed in there. And then you're going to put the lid on and on low cook for another hour or so. This next part was just to use up some corn tortillas that we had, so I cut them up into a chip shape, tossed them in some grapeseed oil, and then salted them and baked them at 375 for 15 to 20 minutes, and they are nice little crunchy chips. And while that is going on, you can prep all of your toppings. We like to serve chili with rice, so I cooked this in some bone broth, and I feel like if you serve it with rice, it stretches the meal a little bit further. We did for toppings sour cream, cheese, cilantro, avocado, and some tortilla chips. You can also just keep it simple and just do sour cream and cheese, but we had all these items on hand. This was a delicious meal, and thank you so much for watching. I've added my blog link in the description, which has all of the recipes for this. And I've also added links to all of my favorite kitchen items. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you next time.